This is it. I got it.
It's cool.
All right. Good morning, good evening, or afternoon. What was it?
I said this talk, but I think
Yeah.
you
I think it's
because
because
the camera's on now.
And you
so
trying to
like,
like
think about
do
it.
this. Good morning. Just say.
I want to do
Good morning,
a
good afternoon,
generic
good night.
introduction. That's what
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
doing.
I know, but I'm saying like don't make it feel like you trying to say it in the same cadence. Like good morning, good evening, good afternoon. You do that every time. If you want to say good morning, good evening, good afternoon, then say it how you would.
I
That's
don't
what I'm
know if y'all
saying.
say
That's
candy
how I
because
say
I
it.
don't know if people know what a candy is.
So today we're going to talk about something that has been a buzz in the media ever since it was released, the Black Panther. And probably by the time this show airs, the Black Panther is going to come out, probably break all kind of ridiculous records, and it's just going to be ooey gooey black goodness and black history in the making. Like, I'm so excited for the Black Panther. I'm telling y'all right now that this movie's about to crack. One, I won't say I'm a Marvel head, but I do think I grew up on Marvel comics. Like, I'm a fan of the X-Men series, and I do know that the Black Panther, T'Challa, the king of Wakanda, is married to Storm.
Spit a little bit with that one. Spit a
You
little bit
got
with
to,
that
you
one.
know, you got to say that with authority. You know, you got to put some intonation in that. And so, I want to talk about Black Panther from an entertainment perspective, but how it relates to our black mental health and why it is important. And one of the things we want to talk about is representation, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of times in movies, horror, any type of genre, black people are getting killed first in the movies. Mm-hmm. They're either crackhead, there's someone violent, they're in jail, and you can talk about a lot of things that reinforce the stigmas of the black community. But now we have an African king who is in an independent nation that has not been colonized. They have cures to diseases that the white man couldn't figure out because they do not have the moral fortitude to be able to handle that. Vibranium, the strongest material known to men. And then
research.
Dropping balls.
Let me tell you, because I was watching the Black Panther series.
What could we be?
Right? And it's also a representation of a very strong black females who serve as the king's guard. So I'm excited about this movie. Tell me what you guys are feeling right now.
To be honest with you, man, I don't even know much about it. I don't even know much about Marvels.
Okay.
The excerpt that I did watch, and you're saying it's black. I didn't know he was a king, but you know I'm gonna go out on a limb. What I saw was him in a fight with another black man, who I think was
Killmonger.
Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan or something, yeah.
So I'm like,
Yeah, there was.
he's fighting another black man. So is this really? Is this kind of the same stuff we're seeing in the communities? Is that what they're trying to show us right with this?
Listen now, I think that's an important point that you make, but also we got to understand the tradition of the Wakanda tradition. And so in order to become the Black Panther, anyone can challenge him for that position. Okay. And in that movie, he's challenging him for the position of Black Panther. I think by legacy and right, T'Challa will always remain king, but if you're not the strongest in the community, you're not going to be the Black Panther.
So it's like the alpha male type situation. And see, that's important to know because I didn't know that
Yeah.
either.
I know
So that
nothing
helps.
about Marvel, so all this is kind of educating me. So
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, what do you feel about the hype? Because, you know, we've been seeing the memes that are coming out. What you wearing to the Black Panther? You know, they're coming to America. I mean, it's dope.
I feel like it's justified. I mean, we've known superheroes in our own communities for a long time now, and we never got to see them kind of on the big screen. We always had to identify with like a superhero that didn't look like us. So even going back to President Obama, who was many people's superhero, now we actually have one who actually has powers and who actually saves, you know, people and stands up for everything that's good and just. So I feel like from a representation standpoint, it's important, especially for young black males and young males of color, just to have that representation of that person to kind of identify with in superhero world.
Yeah. Outside of like the superhero nature of it, I feel like this is good for black film, black project and black content in general. Because if you got a film that's didn't it break all records for pre-sale tickets?
Yeah.
Like,
Broke records.
All Marvel.
Yeah.
That is the highlight that I saw.
Right. Yeah.
So if you have a movie like this, I know it's superhero based, but it's black driven.
Yeah.
This is black media, black film, black content on multiple levels. I feel like black film and just actresses, actors, all that stuff is starting to be recognized and respected.
Yeah.
So on that level, that's what I gravitate to.
It's black excellence in the making.
Yeah.
And I think, DéLon, you bring up a very good point, too, about our everyday heroes that we don't necessarily see and recognize. So for you gentlemen, who were some of the heroes in your life growing up that you can identify?
For me, I can identify my father, which, you know, in today's society, you know, isn't as, I would say, normal, I guess, because I grew up with a mother and a father in the home. So my father was a constant presence, you know, versus some people in the black community, they don't have that father figure. So mine, when I would say black male, be my father, you know, and the commitment that he showed, you know, growing up, you know, when I was growing up.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Mine is kind of like the opposite, somewhat. I didn't grow up with my father in the home, but my father was present around. And I'm gonna say my mom, like, 'cause we had a interesting, you know, development of our relationship. But the reason why she's an everyday hero is because she made a lot happen from a little bit. Coming from a small town of Oak City, North Carolina, a lot of people don't go and get these fancy degrees, get these big jobs. So we really work with what we have. And she raised me and my little sister off a job making $10 an hour. Like, how do you do that as a black woman from the country, from a small network of people? And she really, you know, she put skills within me to just always make it work. So me growing up, seeing that drive and determination that she had, I mean, I don't know, that made me the man I am today. So.
Indeed. I could say the same. I feel like I used to be at the point where I would be like my mom, you know what I'm saying? She was there, did it on her own. But as I kind of like got a little bit older and was able to kind of reflect on everything that I kind of been through and where I've been at, I feel like everybody that played a part in my village is like my hero. Like everybody that kind of contributed to who I am today, whether it be my very first couple of teachers, my grandparents, you know what I'm saying, my mentors and advisors all the way through college and the doctoral program. I feel like those are my heroes because each one of them played a role and kind of contributing to who I am, and they were like modeling exactly who I needed to be. And so I used to be stuck on my mom's for them same reasons, and it's still her very much, right? But then it's like all these other people that have kind of contributed to that success too, and I feel like those are my heroes, and those are the ones that I kind of identify with as being real life heroes. Just everybody that's a part of my village.
That's important that you said a village, the concept of not just one person playing a hand. And I mean, sometimes I speak from a perspective of not having a village. Sometimes it's really just that one person in your corner pushing you and just being the example.
Right.
So speak to that a little bit about how, like, the film, but also how that, you know, impacts the person.
The village?
Yeah, the lack thereof.
Oh yeah, no. I feel like even in the sense of somebody not being there rather. So you talked about how like your father wasn't in the home. My father was nowhere around, right? But I had my younger brother's biological father who kind of stepped up to the plate, but he still wasn't the best example. Right. But even coming from a place of deficiency, that's still a part of my village. Like, just because we have a village, it don't mean we're gonna have everything. And I count the stuff that's missing too, right?
Okay.
So that stuff also contributed to who I am. And so I won't necessarily put those people or those instances on a pedestal as a hero, but I do think that they contributed to that. And so because there was lack, there were other people that stepped up, like my grandfather, my uncles, the male teachers, or my mom couldn't be there because she had to work 2 to 3 different jobs. I knew that my track coach was gonna be there and step up, you know, and she still calls me her son in some ways these days. And so those areas that were kind of like lacking, people that were there kind of filled in. And so that's why they all kind of get that same level of love in some respects. Not all, because my mom's always going to be here, you know what I'm saying? But like they all kind of get that same level of love and respect. And
I really think you bring up very good points, and I echo the sentiments of my colleagues. I too was raised in a household with my dad and my grandpa, so like these two men are strong heroes and role models in my life, but I don't want to highlight them. I think I'll go more along the lines of the community aspect, because there were people that were outside of my purview that were watching out for me that I didn't realize it. And I remember in high school, there was a track coach, and he was we called him a narc, with like the little security guards. But I guess, you know, I was an active brother, doing well in AP honor classes, as we discussed a little bit earlier. And I didn't even know much about going to college. Like, even though I was in AP and honor classes, like, they were not, conditioning me or us, people of color, to go to college.
Yeah.
And I remember Ricky. His name was Ricky. I can't remember his last name. So if you're seing this, I've been
Shout
meaning
out to
to
Ricky.
thank you. And shout out to Ricky.
Shout out to the nine.
ECVHS. Somewhere in San Diego. So I remember there's this program called the Links Achievers Program. And so I got an invitation to mail out of nowhere. And I'm like, who is this who gave me this invitation for this? And the Links Achiever eventually accepted me, and they gave me a scholarship to go to college and kind of help put me on the path towards, being here today. So I was like, who would even think to recommend me? And I did some research, and I found out it was Ricky. And I'm like, wow, like a black man looking out for another black boy. Didn't have to say anything about it. He never came to me and approached me, but like just that small act of kindness, like has made all the difference in our life. And so sometimes we can see heroes visually and we have them in our lives daily, but sometimes it's the people that are on the outside of our community, or the outside of our understanding, our purview, our perception, that are helping to build us. And so when we talk about the Black Panther, we got to think about this. A lot of children of color are going to be watching TV. And then they can see images that we see on these ratchet television shows. And I love me some ratchet TV, don't get me wrong. But they're not great examples of how we should be. They're not great examples of how we need to communicate, how we should love each other, how we should uplift and build each other. So the fact that we have a black movie with black directors, actors, writers, that's teaching us that we are royal. That's really confirming, and reiterating what we're saying, that we are of kings and queens. Like, it is important to see, and it could be very powerful. It's really about the perception.